Hey there, podcast land. I found something in Audacity that I'd like to show everyone, and I've seen no one talk about this, so I think it might be useful just to share a little bit of a tip that will make editing and inserting various different clips 10 times easier. Let me share my screen and I'll kind of show you what I'm talking about. So, here I am. I have got a big long track. I've actually got quite a few tracks in this. I ended up recording them all in one kind of stretch, which is kind of handy just for my purposes. But I might want to find a certain mark, a certain place. And at the moment, I quite simply just have a notebook with a random load of scribbles, which isn't the most user friendly. So let's say, for instance, we're through here and I'm at this part of the song, for instance, or this part of the podcast. And I'm like, this is a really interesting part. I want to highlight something here, or I want to pause something here. What you do is you select that point in the timeline and then press Control and B. That's simple. And you get this new track that you can see underneath. But this is not an audio track. This is a text track. And what I can do now is I can type in whatever thing I want. Just like that. Press enter and it saves. So I know now that the thing that I want is right here in this track. And I can move that around just wherever I want. If I want to add more to this particular track, I'll just click where I want on that track, press Control B, and write another thing that I want. Just like that. Now that's epic. That's kind of awesome. And what I've done is I've ended up using it to help me cue in where these songs are going to go, because I can now have it in sync. So let's jump over to the current episode that I'm editing. You can see I've included the song Nothing, which is going to start about here when I bring in that audio. 3G5Cs is another song I'm going to bring in here. But I've got one more that I need to bring in. And this one's going to be at 1525. I've got my scribbles, which I've already done. And it goes right here. Sometimes you might want multiple tracks. And in that case, I am just going to click where I want it, press Control B, and it gives me a brand new set of labels. I cannot spell labels today. That's close enough. And you can have that there. And this is great. And you can move it around as you need to. You can nudge it ever so slightly. So moving it is just super handy. And we can bring it round. So I hope this is a little tip from Podcast Land to Podcast Land. I don't know. Are we a land? Are we a nation? Are we a flying city? I sincerely hope Podcast Land is actually just like a flying country, like sort of D&D-esque. Anyway, I'm yabbering on. I hope this is helpful to at least one person out there. And if I find any more tips, I might just chuck them on my YouTube or my Twitter or my whatever social media I have. Until then, I hope you all have the most stellar of days.